I'm Laura Rickard, and this is the Loganville Emergency Response Team's final project submission for PM690, Integration, Scope, and Quality Management. Our team has been tasked with conducting a complete overhaul of the city's emergency and disaster response procedures, providing the city with modernized strategies for the health and wellness of the city and its population after a disaster occurs. Today, the team will be presenting our Emergency Response Project Plan, which includes the team and project charters, the Scope Management Plan, the Quality Management Plan, and our Additional Work and Unexpected Event. The Loganville Emergency Response Team consists of Anthony Gayfield II, our Supply and Shelter Lead, who is responsible for providing locations for emergency supplies and community shelters, Celeste Miranda, our Disaster Response Lead, responsible for managing the development and execution of the Disaster Response Communications Plan, Kevin Anderson, our Communications Lead, who is responsible for supervising the renovation of the existing warning system and signals capabilities, as well as the refresh and new installations of the emergency 911 systems. And I'm Laura Rickard. I've been selected to lead the Loganville Emergency Response Team as the project manager. I'm also responsible for overseeing the disaster response exercises that will ensure the community is prepared to respond to various disaster scenarios. Initial meetings were conducted to define and detail our team and project charters, which provide a high-level overview of the project's objectives and deliverables. After a review of the city's emergency response capability, it was discovered that Loganville was not prepared to respond to catastrophic events. Local entities highlighted the need to protect Loganville citizens while reducing the impact of disasters such as fires, hurricanes, flooding, earthquakes, hazardous materials, acts of terrorism, etc. Our team will conduct a full review of Loganville's existing emergency response plan, refreshing portions of the plan as necessary to guarantee efficiency, while integrating new procedures to prepare the city for potential disasters. We will better prepare the community by designating emergency supply storage and shelters, upgrading the emergency notification systems, modernizing the communications plan for disaster response, developing a training program for volunteers and public officials, and conducting scenario-based emergency exercises. Key project stakeholders are individuals invested in the project, whose objectives must be satisfied before the project can be considered successful. An emergency response plan has many moving parts, and we are confident that our coordination with the local Loganville stakeholders will lead to the successful development of a modernized plan best suited for Loganville's unique community. Our team will be conducting this plan refresh while adhering to the customer's defined constraints. The overall budget for this project will not exceed $835,000, which will cover the emergency response plan development and documentation, location designations for shelters and supply areas, all essential equipment in support of the plan, and all necessary training and testing required. Our team will have this fully developed plan available to the City of Loganville within 9 months, ensuring all key objectives defined in the project scope will be completed. The high-value budget depicted here provides an estimate of all costs expected for the project and serves as a basis to allocate funding where necessary to support the needs of the project.
Hello, I'm Celeste Miranda, the Disaster Response Lead. The Scope Management Plan is a collection of processes used to guarantee all required tasks are included in the project. This excludes areas which are considered out of scope. This plan defines how the project scope is described, developed, and verified. Change management plans define activities to manage and control change during the execute and control stages of the project. The proposed change is measured against the project baseline. Change management responsibilities are to provide the description of the project scope, budget, schedule, plans to manage quality, risk, any foreseen issues, and presented changes. When proposed changes affect the project scope, the proposal is a business decision, which requires project sponsor approval. The project team and sponsors may decide to approve requested changes if the scope is unaffected. The change request form demonstrated will be used for all change requests. Approval authority has been determined as a major change, which will be approved by the project manager, A major change is defined as having an impact on requirements or our work items on the critical path, delaying significant milestones or overall project end date by specific time duration, and if the proposed change cost exceeds $1,000. After the approval of the major change, the project manager is required to update all key stakeholders via email. A minor change will be approved by the team lead. A minor change is defined as having no significant impact to the plan, no schedule impacts, or new projects dependencies. Proposed change with the cost below $1,000. A minor change must be documented and sent to the project manager for awareness. Please refer to the change authority for full rules and guidelines for this process, or contact the project manager with additional questions or concerns. A deployment plan is a step-by-step guide for the final stages of a project. This plan includes items such as a resource allocation or contacting customers with schedule specifics. The steps that will be taken to deploy LERT's plans are the project manager and stakeholder will prepare the project documents, such as the project charter and team charter. The project management team will document all the customer's needs and the project requirements. Shelter and supply storages will be determined by performing a survey of sites in search of buildings to be used for shelters and supply storage areas. Emergency communication updates will consist of 911 system upgrades involving communication with local, county, and state personnel. 911 system upgrades must receive prior approval from state agencies. Resource allocation necessary for installation of new hardware and software. And training for all volunteers and first responders will be performed using the resources necessary for the training requirements, including the system identification prior to training execution. The disaster exercise will require city and state agencies notification and validation prior to exercise.
Hi, my name is Kevin Anderson, and I will be going over the Quality Management Plan, or QMP, for the City of Loganville Emergency Response Project. The QMP is a customer-defined acceptance level of quality, describing how deliverables and work processes are achieved. The QMP describes how quality will be managed throughout the development of the project. Quality management provides the following guidance. First, it determines quality practices and procedures relevant to the project for both project deliverables and project processes. Next, it also defines the project responsibilities. Finally, it provides documents for compliance for the project. Next, we will talk about quality control. Quality control is part of the quality management, focusing on fulfilling quality requirements. This provides process validation steps and also defines when objectives are successfully achieved. One of the controls that our team has put in place is a traceability matrix. A traceability matrix is a checklist mapping and tracing defined requirements within a benchmarked and actual scenarios. The matrix for each deliverable will reference completions for all defined objectives within the plan and will reflect all objectives and deliverables contained within our work breakdown structure. One example on this slide is the emergency supply storage matrix. It gives an item number, an action, what the measurables of the objective are, and finally what it needs to be signed off by the customer for customer approval. Another quality control is our customer acceptance checklist. This checklist will be used to denote all plan objectives as successful based on customer-defined requirements referenced in the project charter. This validation by the customer or stakeholders that must be signed by them saying that alert completed all deliverables up to their standards. This checklist will have every deliverable listed in the project charter that was agreed on by alert in the City of Loganville. The checklist will not be considered complete until all deliverables are completed up to the customer's satisfaction. After this document is signed, it will be one of the final documents used in turning over the completed project to the City of Loganville.
Loganville's current mayor, Janice King, and current chief of police, LeBron James, will be retiring before this plan is expected to be completed. The incoming mayor, Mr. Diamond Joe Quimby, believes the city does not need an updated plan and wishes to save the money. It will be our team's responsibility to supplement Mr. Quimby with enough data so he agrees this plan is one that will protect the city and its residents. The incoming chief of police, Lieutenant Dan Taylor, will require a thorough plan review to understand his new roles and responsibilities relevant to the plan. The team was notified that we will use hands-free augmented reality glasses to integrate virtual information into the real world. This change included an additional $100,000 to be added to the original plan budget of $735,000. The team submitted a change request with this information, which was approved and integrated into the overall plan. The team has combined AR glasses procurement, training, and integration steps into the original work breakdown structure, and although the budget was changed, this additional work will not extend the overall project timeline. Our team is well on the way to establishing a solid way forward in creating Loganville's modernized emergency response plan. The team will continue working together in the future, leveraging PM691 to fully understand the policies, procedures, and documentation required to plan, develop, and manage the project schedule and budget. Thank you.